with a chance, with a chance, with a chance, with a chance. When the crowd gets busted, when the floor gets dusty, when your blade gets rusted, with a chance, with a chance. When your room smells funny, when a hex takes your money, what's gonna save you, honey? Just with a chance, with a chance. All you witches and all you old magicians, it's time to start listening to with a chance, with a chance. With a chance, with a chance, with a chance,
sum of all my parts, a domestic beast with a hairy heart, trapped within a walled suburbia. I've found my taste is somewhat underground, between the shadows and the cracks. I am building my utopia. I need to break free from all that binds, that makes me old before my time, in this world of dystopia. My love is like a bright guiding light, shining in the darkness of the night, the star of my utopia. In the motion of the sea, in the air that we breathe, can you feel me? In the stars and in the trees, in the song of the bees, can you hear me? Caged golden memories, time has come to show your true feelings. I know it's the only way to be, when the same old feelings come over me. I feel greater than the sum of all my parts, a space jockey from a distant star, marooned upon dystopia. I've found my taste is somewhat underground, between the shadows and the cracks. I am building my utopia. In the motion of the sea, in the air that we breathe, can you feel me? In the stars and in the trees, in the song of the bees, can you hear me?
I haven't heard that in a while. Widdershins Radio.
I miss that song. For your spiritual side.
A twisted approach.
To the left-hand path.
And all the paths between and beyond. We're back. It's been a couple weeks.
Yeah, we took a couple weeks off. It was kind of weird not having the show.
Especially since we do a show live on Facebook every fucking day, just about.
So then when we started doing that every day, I was like, well, we got to do Widdershins. We can't not do Widdershins and do that every day.
Yeah, how do we have an excuse?
That actually takes a lot more commitment because I have to be camera ready.
Yeah. Well, the live broadcasts on Facebook, I never know when we're going to do them. I just realized today that we went on at noon a couple times, and now we're in the same time zone as Candelo. And he does his show at noon. But he was there on most of our broadcasts, so hopefully we're not stepping on his
We'll have to try to time that better.
Yeah, we weren't really planning on it. Nobody was planning on this. Nobody was planning on a fucking pandemic, the black fucking plague.
Nope.
We've been staying home. Those of you that haven't been watching our live broadcast, we've been farming.
Farming?
Yeah,
growing vegetables and stuff. Yep.
Yeah, we've been watching the fucking plants grow and getting groceries delivered, and actually probably during this broadcast, if they're on time, they haven't arrived yet. So when the dogs start barking, we will probably go to a musical. Probably go to a musical break because we've got to bring in the groceries, put them in the decontamination spot, spray them with the water bleach solution, and let them sit for a while because that's the fucking world we live in. Thank you very much.
Yep.
So we got the folks from Three Crows Conjure coming on. We got TJ and Amanda. We actually met them finally at the last Hex Fest. I'm hoping that maybe we'll be able to have Hex Fest again this year. I don't fucking know how that's going to go. I'm hoping to see them again.
The mayor is talking about canceling all events in New Orleans for the rest of 2020.
Everybody's pissed off.
I'm guessing Hex Fest probably counts as one of those things because there's more than 10 people at Hex Fest.
Yeah.
So I'm sure the Bourbon Orleans isn't going to...
Yeah, that's kind of a problem. We have to have the hotel.
I'm guessing the hotel isn't going to, let them have any workshops. So
who knows where we're going to be there? We just gotta hope for the best. And I will go with what the governor says. I will not go with what Trump says. Trump says it's okay to go outside. Everything that he says is a fucking lie, so that must be a fucking lie. But the governors are trying to actually protect the people rather than protect their reputation.
Casualties in their states.
Yeah.
A lot more.
Somehow in Louisiana, we got a Democrat governor. I don't know how that happened.
I don't know how
before my watch.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I grew up in the back of an occult store. I've been raised on it since I was like 13 years old. I've owned my own for many years. Ran the brick and mortar type for about 20 years. And still, anytime I travel, the first thing I do is I look up the local witch stores and go into them. And so, of course, when we were at Hex Fest, we had to go into the vending hall. And we definitely bought a few things there. But doesn't matter how much occult stuff I've seen. I want to see more. And I recall the Three Crows Conjures display. They had some cool shit. And I think they make some of their shit. And we're going to talk to them about it and see what they make and stuff. So I don't know if Amanda's here too, but I know TJ's on the line there. Hello, TJ. How are you holding up?
We're doing great. How are y'all doing?
Hey guys, how are you?
Oh, hi Amanda. It was so great meeting you guys last year at Hex Fest. I don't know if it's going to happen again this year, but we'll see.
Yeah, it was going to be an easy one for me. I only had to do one workshop.
Yep.
God, that's...
And we live right here. We don't have to worry about flying or, accommodations or anything.
Walk there in like 15 minutes.
Yep. Yep.
I was kind of planning on that. Nobody was planning on this shit. So I remember talking to you guys a long time ago about you were thinking about opening a brick and mortar store, and I don't remember if that ever happened. Hopefully it didn't, because that would have been a bad time. Did you guys just online, or did you go brick and mortar?
We're online right now. Luckily, we didn't make that move.
Yeah, that would really suck right now. Yeah, our friend Hoodoo Semois just landed a fucking lease like right before this happened to move his shop onto Bourbon Street, which in New Orleans it's a no fucking brainer. But now the rats have taken over Bourbon Street. There's nobody fucking there, and I think he's still trying to figure out how he's going to even move his stuff there. So tough time for brick and mortars, but tough time for everybody. How you guys doing with your online shop?
Honestly, we're doing really good. I'm very grateful.
Oh, good.
We're taking it day by day, and we're just staying present.
Mm-hmm. Good.
And I was actually, I don't know if you guys know this, but Hoodoo Samoes is actually my godfather. So.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I didn't even know. Well, I didn't know you Paolo godfather.
No, I'm a uncle in Haitian Voodoo. Yep.
Wait, your godfather in what?
In Haitian Voodoo.
Oh, okay.
I didn't even know they used that terminology in Haitian Voodoo. I didn't know that. I thought godfather was a Apollo thing.
No, I think they have it in Ocha and Voodoo.
All right. Well, cool. Yeah, good people. We used to see him every fucking day.
Yeah, we actually have been hanging out since we moved here. We've been hanging out with him a lot, like almost every day. And so it's kind of weird not to see him all the time.
Yeah, we saw him every day at the office. We called it. And
Pickles. Have you ever met Pickles?
I love Pickles. Yeah.
Yeah, Pickles is awesome.
Yes, I miss him. I check in on him. But yeah. What? Go ahead.
No, you're fine. I was just going to say, during this whole thing that's been going on, it's been really kind of devastating seeing all the shops, all the bookstores, everything. And you just see like a GoFundMe. Seems like it'd be popping up every day. Yeah. And, we try to do our part to help out with other shops and doing that. So we've been donating a little bit here and there that we can.
I've been actually asking people not to shop at my shop and been plugging the other shops because my main source of income is teaching. I have one employee and we're backlogged like 2 months in orders. Like we magically time all of our brews. It takes like a month to brew like your average thing. So it's just not very sustainable in the current world. I'm probably gonna have to change the way.
It's more of a kind of a hobby at this point, since mostly what you do is teaching.
Yeah, I worry more about my friends and their the brick and mortars here. It's just that we were here long enough to experience the real New Orleans and all the really cool shops, and then right away, bam.
We got here right when Carnival started. So we got to, experience all that and, the king cake and all that. And then by New Orleans, the actual Mardi Gras day, the 25th, I kind of saw disaster coming. So we didn't even go to any of those parades that day or the day before. We got our puppy the day before because I figured we weren't going to go anywhere anyway. So that was hard.
If you guys are Indianapolis, I don't know what the situation is. I know there's some states that aren't really locking down. Are you guys like on full lockdown, or what's the situation over there?
We are on full lockdown here. We're able to do like curbside pickup, but we're doing mainly mail delivery. Like we have a box that we put all of our stuff in and lay it out for our postman. He usually comes around the same time. So I'm grateful that we have such nice post office people because, they've been a blessing during this situation. So.
Well, I really wonder what's going to happen. There's a lot of talk about the post office shutting down in June.
Postal Service is kind of scheduled to shut down on June 1st.
If there's anything that we need to bail out, I would think it's that. Without the post office. We don't have a country.
Yeah.
We can't do vote by mail either.
Well, that's one of the requirements to be a town or a city. You have to have a post office. So it's like we don't have post office. So we don't have a country. It's all over.
We have to bring back the Pony Express.
I mean, maybe UPS and FedEx will still be around, but that's so much more expensive. I do everything priority mail, just like many things I can stuff in that box.
Privately held companies, but the U.S. Postal Service is a federal thing. So I don't know. I think they should be bailed out too.
I do too. I feel like I really hope that things start changing a little bit. I mean, we still see people like it's hit Indianapolis pretty hard. I forget the numbers at where it's totaled at, but I mean it's hit pretty hard here. Nothing like New Orleans, though. I'll tell you that.
Louisiana is third. I think New York has the most cases and deaths, and then followed by New Jersey, and then Louisiana's third.
Well, hit right during Mardi Gras, and then we just exported that shit all around the damn country. Yeah. Probably people catching it off of those beads people were throwing at them from the balconies and shit.
Yeah.
I was hoping that all the spilled alcohol was gonna cleanse the streets.
There's not enough alcohol in alcohol.
That's a problem.
Yep.
We need stronger drinks.
We need Everclear everywhere.
All right, everybody, we're gonna all switch to Everclear. Right. Gonna do a shot every time Trump lies. I started this drinking game that every time Trump lies, I take a drink, and now I'm probably an alcoholic. It wasn't a good idea.
Yeah. I'd be a lightweight now. I really don't drink, so.
I used to be when I met Marta.
And then what happened?
151. Oh, later.
That was our first date.
Anyway, so you guys make some of your own stuff. I remember that there was stuff that I hadn't seen before. Yeah, well, you tell me. You make most of your own stuff, or what?
We make everything.
Everything.
Besides, I mean, of course, the animal products, but most of the stuff, like the herbs, I search for organic. But actually, some of that even comes from our garden. We have a small garden that we do. We make our own oils. The candles are made by hand. And I mean, yeah, it's all us. So,
Right on.
And I do small batches. Everything is custom made. So, it's a lot of work, but it's worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've often said, that's the best kind of stuff. It's like, I don't want some mass manufactured crap that's not going to help my magic.
Right.
And so many people using that stuff. I remember that the first witch store that I worked in carried only Indio oils. And I think I was looking at a bottle of Run Devil Run, and it was FD&C Red No. 3 and fragrance, which, of course, as you know, is the traditional ingredients in that brew.
Yeah.
So if you guys, we personally started growing our own food now too, which hasn't, we haven't been able to eat it yet. We just recently started, but you guys grow your own food too?
Yep, we do. We have actually some squash plants. Cauliflower, green beans are popping up pretty nicely.
Nice.
Cucumbers, strawberries, blueberries, blackberries. Yeah, we've got a nice little assortment. So
cool. And I really enjoy seeing TJ's food porn on social media. And that's good stuff.
Fantastic. He is. Like, I do the baking, but he definitely, he can cook me out. Yeah.
So we're going to see Marta making a roux.
Yeah, I'm saving up enough bacon grease to make roux, and I'm almost there. So I'll be able to do that soon.
Don't stop stirring. That's the key.
Yeah, I know. And I have a really small bladder, so I'm going to have to make sure that I don't have to go to the bathroom for the next hour, or else call you over to take over the stirring, because if you burn it, it's over. So,
yeah. But the thing is, the best part about roux, when you're making gumbo, you want it'll start smoking a little bit, but don't worry about that when it's there. I mean, it's so worth it. Go that little extra for there.
Yeah, for sure. Like slow and low, right? Mm-hmm. That's how you want to do it. Okay, I'm ready. I just have to make sure I have enough bacon grease.
All right, so you guys make roux. Do you toast your flour ahead of time?
Toast the flour ahead of time? No, I don't. I actually just put it in straight.
Yeah, I've never, a couple people have told me to do that, but everything I've actually read about and all the videos that I've watched, they don't talk about toasting the flour, so I'm not really
Cajun Ninja, man.
I'm not really sure how important that is. I think
I saw that
it's-
guy.
Yeah, he's fun as hell.
Yeah. I'm gonna make one of his crawfish dishes. That's actually what's gonna require the roux. I'm not ready to make gumbo yet, but I'm gonna make a crawfish stew, I think, and that's served over with a roux. So I'm gonna do that.
Hello, Rachel, in the chat room.
We have one called crawfish pie that we love to make. That's
oh my
one.
God.
What's it called?
Crawfish pie.
Crawfish
Ooh.
pie.
That sounds good. Do you know when does I know we're in crawfish season right now, but I'm not sure how long it lasts. Do you know?
Oh, it's not long at all. I mean, it's just literally just the springtime, and then it's over.
Oh no. Okay, we're gonna have
We
to
already
hurry
missed
up.
our first chance at a crawfish boil
Well,
because
no,
of this fucking thing.
Yeah, we missed our first crawfish boil because of this shelter-in-place thing. So hopefully next year we'll be able to do that.
It's a pain in the butt.
So do you guys make like dressed glass candles?
Yes, we do. We make actually, and it's funny you said that because when you called, I was downstairs actually putting the wicks into the actual 7-day glass jars. So we put those in from scratch. We don't pre-buy any of those. We pour every one of our candles. We actually blend in the oils into the wax while we, put the intentions in afterwards, and then we top them with actual herbs that are associated.
I know you've been on the show before, and I always ask people this question that make their own stuff. Glitter or no glitter?
Oh, did you forget my answer?
Yeah, I did. It's been years, I think.
A couple years maybe. I don't know.
So far, nobody said glitter, so yeah.
I said a few potty words. I'm going to let Amanda answer that one for you.
Honestly, no, we don't use. I think the only thing we ever used glitter in was our Crown of Success powder, and that's before we really started using pyrite.
Well, we did that so we didn't grind up the pyrite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Well, the powders, you're not burning them. I'd never have gotten that. It's like, this shit's plastic. You're going to put it in candles and burn it? Who the fuck came up with this goddamn idea? And it seems so rampant, but I haven't had anybody on the show yet that does fucking glitter. So I don't know who came up with
I'll
that.
tell you to your face.
Well, nobody's been to our fate. Well, except for we've only had Hoodoo Sim Moise, Christian Day, and Patty Negri live in studio. So, yeah.
Yeah.
But she doesn't make candles.
Nope.
She's too busy, like, running around red carpets and shit.
Real Hollywood.
Yeah. No glitter here. No glitter here except for the powder, but that's about it.
Well, I guess our money rice, that's got confetti in it.
Yeah, that's another thing. But I guess I look at confetti a little bit different than,
Yeah.
Well, that's paper. So,
Glitter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what did you say? Money rice?
Yeah, our money rice. We make
I
green
saw
money
that on their
rice.
table. Tell us about your money
How
rice.
do you use that?
The money rice, we use it, we put it in wallets, put a little bowl like on the money altar, put it around candles. You could even put it by like the door. I mean any place, or in the register, like if you have an actual brick and mortar.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the main uses for
And
it.
maybe like in a mojo bag or something?
Yeah.
It's in our fast cash roll, too.
What?
We do use it in the fast cash oil. So
The wet oil?
fast cash.
Fast cash.
Oh,
Okay,
okay.
that makes sense. What would you say your best-selling brew is?
Honestly, the fast cash.
Of course,
That-
it's always money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not
That-
the damn truth be told, where you can't get people to shut the fuck up.
Oh.
What?
Yeah. I make a truth be told oil. And it's pretty much, it sells. And everybody's like, I was using it. I had a customer send me a message and they were like, I was doing it and I was petitioning and the person that I was targeting called me. And I go, well, did you get what you were looking for? And they're like, yeah. I go, okay.
How you test it.
Yeah, some people forget, sometimes this shit works fast, and sometimes this shit works before you do the spell. And I always teach my kids, like, that's because magic can time travel. You still need to complete the spell. It's like, a lot of times shit will start manifesting when people are out buying their stuff, gathering their supplies and shit. And sometimes you're waiting for 3 moons, typical witchcraft. A lot of times you're waiting for 3 moons.
Yeah. Yes. I think, and I always say magic follows the path of least resistance.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
if you're open to it, I think it'll travel a lot faster. If you're not and you have worries or you have blockages, then yeah, it's going to take a little bit longer.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think I made some sort of mojo hand for somebody recently, and for gambling, and then the casino's closed. Like right when they got the thing, they said, "Well, you think this will work on the lottery?" I said, "Well, I wouldn't use it on the main lottery, but maybe scratchers, because all of the other people, all of your competitors, trying for that lottery ticket, there's your resistance. The odds are the resistance, and you got a much better chance, winning on some scratchers. There's not somebody out there fighting you over the scratchers, but everybody's, resisting you winning the big fucking lottery. And and then I told him, I said, if I could make a mojo hand that'll win the fucking big lottery, I wouldn't be selling you shit.
I know, right? We actually have a local customer here that, he can't get enough of our coach candles that we do with the best cash in them. And I'm like, what are you doing? And he goes, you want to be honest? I go, yeah. He goes, this week alone, since I've started burning the candle, I've won $900 in the scratch offs. And that's what he plays.
Wow.
So I was like, hey, there you go.
I think Candelo's always winning shit on the scratchers too, but it's just like, again, it's the path of least resistance. You've got competitors for that other stuff, and all of those people are your resistance. It's like nobody's competing in a scratcher.
Well, I'm going to have to actually get my youngest to bed, so I'm going to hand you over to TJ.
Okay.
Oh, he's been trying to say hi to you guys the whole time, so here,
Oh,
say
I
hi
heard.
real quick.
Hi, how you doing?
Oh, hi.
They said,
What's
hi.
your name?
What's your name?
What?
What's your name?
Couldn't make that up.
He said his name's Griffin.
Hey, how old are you?
No, they don't want to know what your favorite toy is. They want to know how old you are. How old are you? All right.
Come on, guys. Hopefully I can get him down.
All right, I'm here.
Sweet dreams, kid.
Is it 8:30 over there?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So you're an hour ahead of us.
Yeah.
Yeah, it reminds me. I'm going to have to start doing the bedtime ritual about probably about 8. In between songs and stuff, I run in, do the toothbrushing ritual, the tucking in ritual. 10 more minutes of TV.
All he has is a distance, like his school is an hour of distance learning from 10 to 11, so it's not exactly the same as when he, had to actually be in school at 8 o'clock. But we still try to keep him on that schedule.
Back when we had free time, those were the days, huh?
Yeah. Well,
now if we had free time, we wouldn't be able to go anywhere anyway.
But at least you don't have to, get up and get dressed and leave the house. We just get up and turn on the laptop for him.
It's amazing how difficult 9 in the morning is now, even though it was 7 in the morning before. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe we start drinking earlier. That's probably what it is. That's it.
No.
That's it. Yeah, it's crazy here with what they're doing for the schooling. They canceled school for the rest of the year.
Right.
And they're doing this online deal. Man. They're still figuring it out here. I don't know if they are there, but they're still figuring it out here.
Yeah, literally has 1 hour of school from 10 in the morning to 11 in the morning. And then he gets assignments and stuff, but he's really only committed to being there, on my laptop for an hour. What grade is your son in?
Our son is in 1st grade, and our daughter's in kindergarten.
Well, you just got really muffly all of a sudden.
Yeah, we actually had a hard time hearing you.
Okay. Kindergarten and 1st.
Kindergarten and 1st?
Yeah.
2 kids, okay.
Okay. All right. Yeah, ours is in third.
Okay.
Our kid goes to the school that was anti-technology, and which was tough because our kid's a total geek. And from when he was in Hollywood, he was in a technology magnet school, so it's centered around technology. So they
technology all the time to no technology.
They kind of had to drag their feet, and eventually they had to embrace Google Classroom and Zoom classes, and have figure out how to do it.
Yep.
It's so weird because they have so many different things that they offer. Like they have the Seesaw program that you have one thing, then you have Google Class to do like on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you have that. And then on another day, you have to go do this other program. And it's just like, guys, come on, just get a couple and choose one. You don't have to do all this crazy nonsense.
Right.
And then, I don't know.
I'll admit I'm not keeping up with the Google Classroom stuff. There's probably a lot of stuff we're supposed to be looking at that I haven't looked at. The kids need consistency, so at least that hour-long Zoom class a day.
And he gets to see his classmates and his teacher, but I wish it was longer than an hour. They should at least make it 3 hours or something.
Yeah. So far they've been studying farming and the history of farming for 2 weeks.
And composting.
So it's all good stuff. But, they seem to be just on that track. Well, hopefully. Well, Marta was just talking about, how there's no school shootings now.
I was just, reading the news, and they said this past March was the first time in... I believe it said 18 years. I hope I'm wrong, but I think it said 18 years that there hasn't been a school shooting in March. This was the first time.
18 years. It just became the fucking new normal.
Yeah.
Well, I guess not having school will stop that, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
We'll take it as a win, right?
What? Say hi, Sasha.
Hi, how
talking to some friends in Indiana. You don't know where that is, do you?
Not at all.
Not at all.
Well, we're closer to Indiana now than we ever were.
Was my grilled cheese dinner, by the way?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes. On top of all that other stuff. You're out of Easter eggs. We'll talk about that later. When you hear music, we'll discuss this.
Okay.
Goodness. We live in interesting times, I must say. So, where were we? So, you make most of your own stuff, but like, do you sell like ritual tools and that kind of stuff? You could be making that.
Well, here's the thing. We've had a lot more people asking us for more type ritual stuff, and they're actually asking for stones, and they're asking for stuff that normally you'd see in a metaphysical, not so much in a conjure shop. Right. So we're kind of been adapting and doing that. We've had people that have asked us for different products, like one of them that I'm making right now, which is the biggest giant pain in the ass ever, but it is so worth it when we do it, is we make these figure candles that are male and female, but it's not your typical. It's actually chakra balancing ones, where we actually have oils that we make for chakras, for the different chakras. These are actually color coded, and the oil is blended. So like you have the crown chakras up at the top of the head, you have that white with the crown chakra oil mixed in, but then it goes purple, blue, green, yellow, orange, and red throughout the whole figure.
So you've got a different oil in each layer?
Wait, so the candle is a different color going down from the head to the feet? Is that what you're saying?
Yep, and a different.
Yes, and a different oil in each layer.
Okay, so different color and different oils.
That is a pain in the ass. I mean, even just like a double color candle, I find a pain in the ass. That's major. I've had a couple things like that. They're just rainbow layers, but then a different oil in each layer. Yeah, that should hopefully raise the price considerably.
Yeah, you're charging it up.
Actually, I will tell you, that's one thing we tried to do is keep them fair as much as possible. For that actual candle, we only charge $15.95 for it.
Oh man, you crazy!
But the thing is that we want magic to be available for those that want to do it, that feel like, they see somewhere where they go online and they see $30 candle and they're just like, Jesus Christ, I can't afford that.
Yeah.
Okay, well, there you go.
Yeah.
Well, no. Well, if you can't afford that, you have to order a different candle that doesn't take countless hours. I'm thinking about, how long it takes for each layer to settle, and you can't let each layer settle too much or they won't adhere to each other, but you can't pour it in too soon or it'll bleed into I know what you're talking about and what pains. And so we're talking chakras, so this is 8 pains in the asses, right? It's 8 chakras. eight total pains in the ass. I personally, I'd make them pay for each pain. That's you.
But I'm making 9 of them now, if that helps you.
What's that? 9?
I'm making 9.
Okay.
9 of them right now.
Wow. That sounds like a lot of work.
Yeah.
I just think like when people order the Santa Muerte candle, it's so big, and it takes so much wax, and then you got to re-pour it because it sinks in the middle a lot of times, and it's like I think that's like just that. It's just black. That's $20 at least on my shop.
Yeah. It's a lot of wax though.
But more power to you if you're making this shit affordable. And
well,
if you're able to make it affordable and make a living, cool.
Yeah, the Santa Muerte one's actually one that's near and dear to us. She was actually the first one that came to me when I was younger. So, I actually love making that for her. And we actually, for an upcharge, we do this is we will actually charge it like they do the actual statues with putting in there the appropriate rice, red thread, coriander seeds, and all that in the actual bottom of the candle. So that way it's blessed and charged from her to you.
Yeah, I don't know if I ever told you the story. I didn't know her at all. And my shop was, for the longest time, my shop really wasn't geared towards making money at all. It was more for, people to gather, and I had, different altars and shrines all over the damn place. I was definitely not, didn't have the head for retail. And this friend of mine came by and he said, I know this woman, she's been like traveling all over Mexico to these Santa Muerte shrines that were closing down, and she's collected these statues, and she has, he said a few statues, and she needs a place to house them. And I said, okay, well, I'll give a spot for the statues. And he said a few statues.
Yeah. One of them was like 6 feet tall. And really large statues.
This woman showed up.
We took them and we dedicated, a whole wall.
Well, this woman showed up, and it was like a clown car of death. They just kept coming out of the car, every color combination known to Santa Muerte, and then that one that was 6 feet fucking tall, and a lot of them, like you said, they. In the resin underneath, there was all these grains and stuff up in it. I didn't know her at all, but she barged into my shop and demanded a reckoning, and I had promised to do that, so I wasn't going to fucking back down, especially to a goddess of death. So that thing took up probably half my bookshelf. Half of the bookshelves became a shrine, and immediately people showed up and started going to that shrine. And I literally had one person crawl across the damn floor to it, and bring offerings to it. And so we found most of those good homes when we closed the shop, and I kept the rainbow-colored one, because the rainbow-colored one covers it all. Got different colors for different stuff, but the rainbow one does all that shit.
It's probably 2 feet tall or something.
I'm looking at it right now. It's about 2 feet tall by the front door over there.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Definitely came to know her after that.
Yeah, right? She has a way of making her presence known, doesn't she?
Yeah.
The dark goddesses do that, man. They burst in and demand recognition, and you best not say no.
That reminds me of a story I remember. Christopher Penza always talked about his whole encounter with when he was in the music industry, and that he was getting out of the music industry to do what he's doing today. Mm-hmm. And I still remember him talking about how Maka came to him, with the Morgan, and was like, how am I going to do this? What am I going to do? and she got him out of there just like that. And it was just like, okay, there's your story right there. You know, it just moves. They just, if you ask them to clear the way, they will do it in a hurry.
Yeah.
Yes, with extreme prejudice. Yes. Definitely, and right away, so here's these things filling my store, and so I'm immediately having to do a bunch of research to know what I had just brought in. And it's like, right away, this is the most versatile goddess I've ever seen. You can like kill somebody, you can do love, you can heal somebody, you can protect somebody, you can do money, you can do wealth. It's just like, your average pagan goddess does, 2 or 3 things, and maybe, or just one. You got like Venus, Aphrodite, they just do love. That's all they fucking do. Santa Muerte, man. And then I started learning what a folk saint was. I thought that was fascinating. You got these people that consider themselves, good Catholics, yet the Catholic Church says that they are Satan worshippers and that it's an evil cult, and so they build their own fucking shrines. They build their own little fucking churches, and they're still going to go to church on Sunday, but not going to let go of their folk saint. And then I started learning about different folk saints.
Mm-hmm.
It's fascinating.
Well, that reminds me of down in New Orleans even, you have your people, you ask them, are you Catholic? And the majority of them are like, yes. But then you have them also working with Saint Expedite right out there making greaser. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I've often said that one, with Catholicism, even voodoo is an example of that. There are many traditions that kind of, I won't even say disguise themselves as Catholicism, because voodoo practitioners that I spoke with about this originally, it's like they didn't see an orisha as representing the saint, or a representation of the saint, or the saint represent, but they were the same thing. Even though you got this white faced saint, it's like, oh no, that's Ogun. Oh no, that's Abatala. And it's like, that's a representation, or I'm trying to think of the other word, but they saw them as the same thing. And then many forms of strega, Italian witchcraft, survived that way by just doing the saints and Mary and angels, not so much the Father God and the Holy Spirit and that kind of thing. And then Irish too. A lot of forms of Irish paganism survived by just kind of, taking on the Catholic aspects. And, God bless the Catholics. It was their fucking idea to change pagan gods all over Europe into saints. And unfortunately turning most of the goddesses into demons, with the one notable exception would be Bridget. But it was their idea. And their idea just kind of came to bite them in the ass later. So you got them, they're out there hunting pagans and witches, and they're really in the church worshiping saints. Mm-hmm. The irony. I've always loved the irony of the way that history actually turns out. But so go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, we just had the, a star just come about, and I laugh because, I have friends from growing up in school and whatnot that, they say, what does a bunny and Easter eggs have to do with Christian holiday, and all this? And I go, see, here's the thing. Sit down. Let's have a little chat.
Yeah.
It's
actual...
just, the thing, they had to hide. They had to disguise what they were doing through the Catholic Church for the majority of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, then Ostara is an excellent example. The story, as I recall, classic story. There's a young girl wandering in the forest. She finds a bird with a broken wing, and there's still, snow on the ground. It's March, and I think it was Scandinavia. It was a Scandinavian story, and she calls upon the goddess Ostara to do something to save this bird, and so her idea was to change the bird into a hare that laid rainbow-colored eggs. And it's like, I knew, there's all kinds of egg associations around the time, all over. Even the Celts were painting eggs red. And that's a fertility color. But that one right there, it's like, oh my God, that's the whole fucking Easter, the Easter Bunny fucking story. And I never could quite wrap my head around where the hell that thing came from. It's like, oh, there it is. There you go. All that Catholicism is really pagan. So you got pagans disguising themselves as Catholicism, but originally Catholicism absorbed so much paganism that they actually disguise themselves as paganism, and it's the irony again. I love it.
Yes.
Let's see. So your fiance, I kept calling her your wife before, but I wasn't sure. But I saw on your page today she's your fiance. So she's a voodoo practitioner. Are you that too, or what's your main practice?
All right.
Well, here's the scoop. I'm kind of, well, the best way to say is I'm waiting to go to Haiti. She has actually traveled and gone to Haiti and, got initiated through, actually, Hoodoo Saint Moise is her father, her papa. Well, because, say it again.
I'm sorry, I actually
She sat on the dog.
sat on the dog.
Now the dog's still itching back. There you go. All right, he's not
so
limping.
So you went to Haiti, or she went to Haiti, or did you both go to Haiti?
She went to Haiti. We were supposed to go at the same time, but actual down spirits, and they're like, no, part of your sacrifice, you have to wait. So I had to wait. She went to Haiti and then came back.
And you went with
now she's a mambo.
With Moise?
Yep, she went with Moise. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Nice. How long ago was that?
Oh gosh, it's been a couple years now. So that was, in 18.
Okay.
So you haven't initiated into voodoo yet?
I have not. But you have to go, in order to become a mambo or a hugan you have to go to Haiti and you have to go visit over there because there's spirits that are over there that you have to see. It's
right.
like you can just stay here in the United States and become a hugan or a mambo. You have to actually travel over there.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. So it's a little different from that, but we both honor the Haitian Voodoo spirits. We do things as far as our weekly rituals on the specific days of honoring them. So we do that.
Okay.
But have you guys ever been to a vet before?
No.
Been to a what?
When all this gets cleared up, make sure I'll make sure to let you guys know when and where they plan on doing the next one.
Okay.
The next what? I missed the word.
It's
You said fet.
vet.
Fet.
It means feast.
It's like a
in
party
French.
where they actually have for the Haitian Voodoo spirits, like they celebrate specific spirit at these parties. And what they do is that people are welcome to come and see it and partake and be a part of it. Usually there's specific spirits that are coming down for that. So you'll get to experience that. But it takes a lot to actually do one. So it's kind of like almost planned out, like almost a year ahead of time. But with everything going on, obviously you can't have one right now.
Right. And do they have them usually in like places like New Orleans? Or do you mean like in Haiti?
Yeah.
Okay.
No. There are ones in Haiti, but there's ones here. It's too.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so it's okay to kind of worship and honor them if you're not initiated?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, that's different than some other ATRs, or at least what some people say about ATRs. Huh.
Yeah. See, actually, Amanda and I, that's actually how our first real official date was actually at a
Was that a
She
fet?
took me to.
Really?
Yes.
Well, that's got to be an exciting first date, I would say.
Oh, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was fun. It was something I've wanted to experience and do with her. And I actually was like, she was like, "Do you want to go see an actual one?" I was like, "There's one here in Indianapolis. Are you kidding? Let's go."
Yeah, I was just gonna ask you, was it in Indianapolis? Wow. Okay.
It was at the time. Then the people have moved on since then. They've traveled. They were actually in New Orleans at one point, and then they moved on to a different state. So.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Yeah, I would love to do that.
So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I would be curious to see how it differs from some of the other ones we've seen. Paolo and Ocha. And, we were able to go to an Ocha thing, even though we're not Ocha. Marta was allowed to pluck chickens. I was allowed to guard livestock. And a rooster got away, and I ended up having to chase it through several yards.
Was it a rooster?
Yeah. Some other dude let this rooster get away, and I wasn't even thinking about. But I was in this whole Latino neighborhood, jumping over fences, chasing this fucking rooster. And people started yelling at me, but I'm like, I'm all dressed in white. I'm chasing a rooster, and so immediately everybody kind of backed off. They're like, "Hey, what are you? Oh, hurry up!"
That's awesome.
And I got the fucking rooster back.
Yeah, I got to pluck some.
But we were never able to see what went on in the ceremony. We were all like outside because we were Paolo, but our godfather was also Ocha, so we were allowed to do that part of the thing, which is still a hell of an experience. And I got that rooster story to tell forever.
Yeah.
Exactly. You caught the rooster.
I think that's an Alice in Chains song, isn't it?
What is it?
The Alice in Chains, isn't that a song about?
Oh yeah.
The rooster. Oh God, we gotta. I was just thinking we've got to upgrade our music selection. It's kind of getting old, so that'd be one to put in there. It would work.
Yeah, rooster for sure. And it's got the got my pills against mosquito death. Remember we were just talking about that? The malaria pills. We were just talking about that.
It's become dated.
Yeah.
All right, we're probably about time to take a musical break, and I got to go look and make sure that they didn't leave groceries on the doorstep without knocking, because I think they're almost late. It was the first time they've been late, but hey, it's that kind of world. So we'll be back with TJ and Amanda from Three Crows Conjure on Widdershins.
A new age of reason, brain treason to trick the mind. What good is searching if nothing's there to find? We arrive at this place of no return, my brothers, only to discover that our minds have led us away so far from the paper truth of who we are. What's right is wrong, what's gone is gone, what's clear and pure is not so sure. All promises become a lie, all that's benign corrupts and died. Of our come forth, bear witness. See the profit from your loss, beg for forgiveness. Only after you tally the cost. We arrive at this place of no return, my sisters, only to discover that our values right as the ground on the show in the sea of what we could be. What's right is wrong, what's come is gone, what's clear and pure is not so sure. All promises become a lie, all that's been right corrupts and died. All the purified.
Bad Religion on Witterson Radio. We got TJ and Amanda from Three Crows Conjure from Indiana, a place I've never been.
Nope.
Place I may never go.
Much.
So how long you guys been in business?
We actually opened up in 2015. That's when we first opened up officially. And I still remember we actually opened on Etsy. It was Three Crows Apothecary, the name of it.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And so we started off doing that. And we actually are bringing back the apothecary line with everything that's going on right now. So we're getting all those goodies up and going again. But we've had, what I was going to tell you is we've had actually people asking us more about magic type stuff. So we have branched out further, and we got some pretty cool stuff. Up here in Indiana, obviously, you're talking about a lot of your Pennsylvania Dutch. You're talking about Scandinavian stuff. So you got a lot of Norse stuff that's around here. And so we've had people that have asked for a bunch of guys who basically not a lot of people are mainstream. You know, you have obviously Thor, you've got Odin, you've got Freya, you've got Frigg, you've got those as your mainstream. But Tyr is one that is there. Yeah. We've got Hum is one that people are asking for. So we are making honorary candles for these people in the 7-day jars so that way they can have for their altar. Amanda's grew up with Egyptian, so that's one that we haven't officially rolled out yet, but we have candles that we're making for them as well. We've got all the labels, everything's ready for it, and the oils have been charged and been worked with. So we've had all those for a while. They just haven't rolled out on our site yet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess technically I think I have like 2 7-day candles on my site because they're a pain in the ass. I spend most of my time on double pillars, but my protection candle, I think it's a Hagal, which is a Scandinavian protection symbol on it. But, I mean, technically, I've got a lot of that blood too. I had that. Me and Marna did the DNA test back when DNA tests weren't that good, and she got 100% European, and I got. 90 something. I got 7% African and the rest European.
Yeah, 7% African, 93%.
And then they redid the algorithm another time, and so I reran the thing through the algorithm, and then I was just a mutt. I'm everything but Asian, I think.
Asian and Native American.
Oh yeah, Asian and Native American. Other than that, I'm fucking a mutt. So technically, I'm not culturally appropriating from the Norse. Yeah.
You know, people ask me, they go, what's your DNA test say? And I just show them a picture of Wonder Bread, and I say, there's my DNA test.
The bread of our peoples will sustain us. So,
I've been working on that. Oh, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, you know, there's here in Indianapolis, there's actually a lot of your Masonic Freemasonry stuff that's here. And it's just a lot of those people have been uncovering things for me that I've been working with the Spirit of Indianapolis for a long time. It's interesting because one of my brothers, he's on my ancestor altar now, but he was the one who first got me. My family's been in masonry for eons, and he got me involved. He was like, you need to do this. I know you left a sour taste in some of your family members, but you really should consider doing this. And I said, okay. And ever since I did, it's just like the whole magical part of it has just off the chart jumped out.
Are you born and raised in Indiana?
Yes.
Okay. And Amanda too?
Nope. She was born in North Carolina.
Okay.
Southern girl.
Yep.
It's another place I've never been. Probably never going to go.
Yeah, we've met a lot of people, recently who are from North Carolina, live in North Carolina, but I've never been. I think they have nice beaches in South Carolina.
Then we started watching. We ran out of stuff to watch, so we started watching Redneck Island. A lot of people from North Carolina and South Carolina there.
See, we always joke. We always say people in Indiana were the rednecks from Kentucky that didn't make it all the way up to Michigan.
I always ask this question of the conjure people, just to see who has what the different answers are. What would you say is the difference between conjure and hoodoo?
Between conjure and hoodoo?
Yeah.
Gosh, I'm going to tell you, the way I believe you have to answer that is how it depends on what are you talking about modern day hoodoo, or are you talking about the old school version of hoodoo?
Well, it's a folk magic, so it's really hard to gauge. And it's really hard to limit. Yeah.
My take is this. Conjure, if you're referring to conjure as actual Southern conjure, then to me, what you're talking about is conjure is actually the Middle Passage, the travel, with the actual Africans coming over, being brought over, plucked out from their home, and having nothing but the clothing on their back to come over. So when you're talking about conjure, you have to be a part of the ancestry in that, straight up. Like, if you're not, honoring those guys, like you were talking about South Carolina, if you're not honoring anybody like Gula Jack, or Gullah Jack, I should say, not Gula, Gullah Jack, or Dempsey, or, in my personal opinion, since we're talking about Indianapolis, if you're not honoring Madam C.J. Walker, one of the first self-made millionaires, black women at the time, from Louisiana in Indianapolis. If you're not honoring these people, Harriet Tubman, they're the ones who paved the way. They struggled. They had to survive. They had to use their magic in the form of actually doing that to survive. I mean, we're not talking about like, oh, you caught me, I'm going to go to jail. No, we're talking about you get caught, you're losing a hand, you're losing a tongue, you're getting your ass whipped with a whip. This is the stuff. And conjure is a method to survive, not just to, get money or have love, but to live, to make that freedom, to have those things. So if you're not honoring that, my personal belief is you're not really doing conjure.
Well, it's hard to not say the same thing about hoodoo, of all the things that you said. And then we got, Appalachian conjure. Mm-hmm. How's that going to equate there?
That's where I classify. Are you talking about the modern day of what people are referring as hoodoo? Because I believe Appalachian hoodoo is that. It's that granny folk magic. Hoodoo to me is more of the magic of everyday things, kind of to survive, but, things that you need. Like if you're needing love, if you're needing magic, if you're needing those things were incorporated in there, in my personal opinion. Cleansings, that's another thing that I feel is part of hoodoo. But actually doing like conjure, like deep down, you're talking about justice work, going to the crossroads and working with the spirits there. That's conjure, in my opinion.
Yeah, it makes sense. It's just there's so many different versions now. I would just like to hear the history because, I don't think of Appalachia as predominantly African American culture. It was largely settled by the Irish. There's a lot of Irish folk magic up in there. And I think of other places as more, African American enclaves than I would think of. So I always hear that, Appalachian conjure, and I'm going, okay, well, then how does that, how does that differ from hoodoo? Because it's not, I don't think of that as that's the hillbillies, a whole different kind of regional thing going on up there. So I always like to hear people's different perspectives of these things that we'll probably never figure out. Because most of those people, white or black, couldn't write. They were not the upper class, any of them.
Well, and especially when you're talking about Appalachian, you have to think about it. With Appalachian, you're talking about back in the back hills. You're talking about the granny witches that were there. They were doing things to actually help their families, help the locals that were there. To me, that's granny witchcraft, and that's stuff that, is it Appalachian hoodoo or, what you want to call conjure? Sure, absolutely it is. But the thing of it is that you're talking about two different things, You're talking about African American conjure versus Appalachian conjure, where you're talking about back in the back hills. They both work. I mean, let's face it, they both work.
Yeah, see, that's kind of the thing that I'm seeing. Is like hoodoo seems to be more of an African American centric word, where conjure I hear used in different regions that didn't tend to be mostly African American. So that's where I'm always, we've studied hoodoo. I practice. Well, I actually, looking back, I've found out recently I've been able to get the books that my witch mother first put out, and after what we learned in hoodoo, I figured out, well, God, looks like what I was practicing my whole life was a hybrid hoodoo with some ceremonial magic sprinkled on top. But then we went and took, like a Cat Ironwood's course in hoodoo, and they were using the seals of Solomon in their mojo bags, which would also be a hybrid hoodoo. So I don't know if we'll ever figure out where all these things came from.
With the using seals of Solomon, I've always been curious, is like, when did that cross over, into actually doing that? Even with, like, when you're talking about planetary magic or even astrological, when did that whole thing, did they actually cross into?
Yeah. Well, and I think it was late 1700s around Tuscany was when Charles Leland was doing his research on the witches of Tuscany, and one of the things that he came out with right away is that there was two main books that the witches, the Strega, were studying, and there was the Keys of Solomon, which were in print at the time, and the Gospel of Aradia, which was a handwritten book passed between families that, eventually he was able to get people to sell him pieces of that book for his work. But that seemed to be a pretty popular text in magics, folk magics all over the world. And, to this day, even Gerald Gardner borrowed from the Keys of Solomon. A lot of his work was based on that, too. So Solomon seems to have crossed all fucking boundaries. This Jewish magic crossed all the boundaries, and everybody was using it. More power to him.
Fascinating, to say the least,
I find just the tracing the histories of magic and where they came from, where they came through, and how they got to me. It's like, I just find that fascinating. I'm not hung up on whose culture it was or any of that. I just find the journey of the magic's fascinating, and the exchange of these ideas amongst peasants all over the world. I'm just always constantly fascinated by that, so I always ask weird questions like the one I asked you.
Well, here's where I'll go with that real quick, and this is just my little article I have to say, is that, there's times where you have people that get upset, that are saying, like, oh, you white boys stole, hoodoo from us, and you're using it, and this is an African American thing. And I understand their frustration. That's the first thing I want to say to them, because they have been taken and pillaged in everything. And I understand. They're just like, well, here's one more effing thing for you to take from us. And I get that. I do. But the other part is our soul, if you believe it, I believe it to be 100% true in my belief, our soul is built up of many, many lifetimes. What's not to say that we weren't that actual person on the ship crossing the Middle Passage to be over here, and that's where I look at it, and I'm like, our soul has many different lifetimes. We have many different things that we come down here to actually do. We have to experience it all before we say we're done.
Absolutely. Yeah, somebody was mentioning too in the chat room, the Appalachians, a lot of Scottish immigrants in there. And while I will admit and agree with people that white privilege is a thing, there are several white cultures that upon arriving on this shore were not considered white. And well, there was slavery, and then you've got indentured servitude. You've got peasants from all over Europe that also arrived here, and they were housed in the same areas, and they exchanged magical and spiritual ideas. And I think a lot of people get really hung up on this thing where the horse left the gate hundreds and hundreds of years ago, and it's never going to go back in. Peasants exchanged folk magic, period. The upper class was practicing, masonry and shit. The founding fathers, they were masons. They had their own mysticism. But the peasants in America, they exchanged all these ideas, and that becomes hoodoo. And I was trying to say that. It's that's African American magic, hoodoo. That's what happened to the Africans after they got dragged over here and put in slavery and exchanged ideas with other people. It's still American. They're African roots, but it manifests differently when it comes over here. And everybody's magic is like that. And I don't know, people get hung up on things, and it makes me unable to do the thing that I like to do, is follow the stream. I want to see where it came from. I want to see where it went through, how it came to me, and all of the little things it picked up along the way. And I find it's fascinating, and nothing wrong with it. Magical ideas just kind of float around, and people all over the world, even before they had contact, even before they got dragged over here and thrown into America, came up with drastically similar ideas with regard to religion, magic, spirituality. I think these things are... we always say in paganism, it's seen in the wild. It's the movements of nature. That's our religion, and nature is nature everywhere you go. So people are going to come up with similar ideas. It's almost subconscious, the effect of the movements of nature upon our magics. And so people are going to come up with the same ideas or similar ideas, and that to me makes all of it more legitimate, not less legitimate. The fact that people, cultures that never interacted with each other, had similar magical and spiritual ideas to the cultures that they then interacted with later when we were all thrown into this fucking melting pot. That makes it legit. That means it did come from the gods. It came from nature. If it was just one culture made up some shit and they were the only people that had those ideas, that wouldn't be legitimate to me. Anyways, I'm rambling.
Well, you sound like you're just embracing New Orleans. Like you just gave the whole thesis statement for New Orleans.
Yeah, well, when now we're in New Orleans, when people talk about cultural appropriation and get all bent out of shape, I said, you know what? I'm just glad I live in New Orleans, because that ship sailed a long time ago and nobody here gives a fuck. Everything's mixing with everything and everybody's cool with it. And I'm like, hanging out with Hoodoo Saint Moïse, who's a hoodoo practitioner and a voodoo priest, and he's hanging out with pagans and witches, and everybody's just... I said the word cultural appropriation one time to somebody here, and they just looked at me like it was the craziest thing I'd ever said or they'd ever heard, and there was crickets in the room. It isn't a concept that seems to exist here, at least from my small perusals of the place, and that's cool because I want to know. I want to be able to interact with all the different magical people from all the different magics and not be tweaking on each other.
Well, and the most beautiful thing I think of New Orleans is you look at the native Indians. The first Americans that were here. I mean, with integrating the hoodoo with their magical beliefs, how freaking cool is that?
Absolutely, that kind of stuff. I mean, I hate where it's gone to where white people are using white sage for everything under the fucking sun. But the little practices that have intermingled from the native practices, I find that fascinating too. It's unfortunate that some people screw it up. It's like white sage is not for cleansing. From every Native American that I've talked to, it's used for a very different purpose than driving shit out. It's more for bringing shit in and making the Great Spirit come in and that kind of thing. And then, back in the day, stuff that we would probably call hoodoo now, there was a whole band of products that used to be powerful Indian this, powerful Indian that. And they even had, there was aerosol sprays. It got ridiculous. But they used to have all these 7-day candles. It was a powerful Indian protection, powerful Indian that. And those traditions that came from were more leaning towards hoodoo and the Latin traditions intermingling with that. But I haven't seen that kind of stuff in a long time, the powerful Indian products anymore.
I haven't seen them in New Orleans at all in any of the shops.
I haven't seen them in like 30 years, probably, or at least 20.
We see them in some like Botanicas and stuff when we've gone.
Still buy them from Indio. They're still selling that.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. A lot of the Botanicas in Northern California, the Bay Area would have them, but I haven't seen anything like that here.
Well, I'll just let you guys know.
As far as like the Indian type stuff, with us being in Indianapolis, my family actually is from Illinois, which is just the state over, and you have over there, that's where Blackhawk is from. You have the Chicago Blackhawks. Well, he was actually over in Illinois near that area. There's a place called Rock Lane where they have a very, very cool monument statue for Blackhawk there and the tribe there. But a lot of people, it's weird. Sometimes it gets kind of weird here because you have a lot of your spiritualists here that bled in from the different areas. So there's a spiritualist camp that's up here that is up in Wisconsin that I don't know if you're too familiar with Blackhawk, but he became a quote unquote spirit guide for some people. But there was actually a spiritualist woman there, worked specifically with him that supposedly channeled Blackhawk.
I did not know that.
So yeah, and then you have Chicago, which a lot of hoodoo came straight out of Chicago. If you're talking about Hyatt, I know that's what's her name over in California? She. Yeah.
Well, I think it was Moise that said it. He said, picture, if you will, Hyatt, this white man going into these impoverished African communities and asking people, tell me all your magical secrets.
Yeah.
And that doesn't seem, it's like, all right, there, tell that white guy some bullshit. Maybe I'll give you $1. Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, we've had friends and we've had clients that have asked us that said, we've read this about, Hyatt's books and all this, and about one of my favorite is the one that had live things in them, and they pulled the okey doke where they actually were giving them ipecac and then they slipped toad into the actual bedpan and said, "Look, we got this out of you."
yeah, that kind of shit. Oh, it's studying the magical history like I do. The things I always like to remind people of. They learn this in history, but if we look at it in a magical context, the East Coast, if you will, was at one time England, and the middle, where we are now, and all the way up to Canada, was France, and then the West Coast was Spain. And all of those people had their slaves, and they weren't all black slaves. Everybody's been enslaving people since Egypt, Greece, Rome, everywhere. They had their slaves, they had their indentured servants, they had their peasants, and a lot of these people, when they hit the fucking land, they ran for the goddamn hills. That's probably how we got so much stuff up in the Appalachians. But we've got ingrained magical cultures of all of these three cultures all throughout this land, way before the country became the country that we know it. And those people left their mark, and it's nothing wrong with that. It's a fucking melting pot. And then once it became England, it still became a melting pot because they let everybody fucking come here. And that's that's how my people got here. The Italian side, they got here because we needed to fill the country with workers, and so we'll let the peasants from all over the world come here and work for us, basically.
Yeah. Hey guys, I'm back. But yeah, no, I agree with you. My ancestry is a little bit interesting because I had, on my dad's side, they're Scottish. So they came over as indentured servants from Scotland. They were kind of forced over here. And then my dad's mother was American, and she was half Cherokee, half Apache, and wasn't registered. Our family escaped, and it was just they claim white. That's what they did, and we didn't talk about it when I would bring it up, and when it was brought up, I would just say, "Don't say Indian." Call us American Indian or the tribe. And we talked a little bit about it, but I mean, there's still a lot of mystery, and I know that my grandmother's father was, he was actually born in slavery. His parents were American Indians. So he was actually Cherokee, his tribe. And he was actually 15 years older than my grandmother, my great-grandmother. So, yeah. So just, it's interesting when you see how everybody came over and what it was, the melting pot that it was,
Yeah, absolutely. Well, like I think TJ was saying before, this conjures, like, the magic, life and death when you've got nothing else. So all you've got, is you're of a certain class. The police aren't going to come save you. The courts aren't going to come save you. That's the same thing that they said back in Italy. That's what the Strega were doing. It's like, it's like we're the police for people who can't call the police. Yeah, I think the mafia was similar to that too. But we get justice for the people that get no justice. That's folk magic all around the world. Everybody, that's what everybody had to do. Like, everybody was not represented by their representatives. The upper class was represented by them, and clearly we're still there.
Yeah. Yes.
So you, Amanda, you went to Haiti, we heard, and to do your initiation.
Yeah. I did.
How long does a voodoo initiation generally take?
Normally it takes, that timing is a blur, but I'm believing it's about a week.
Okay. So you're like basically in ceremony for a week?
Yes. So, it's pretty much that's what it is.
Okay.
That I can't really talk about it.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, no worries.
No, it's you know how it is. So,
Yeah. Well, none of those ATR rituals are short. Especially initiation rituals of any ATR. They're never short. There's a lot of fucking people involved. There's a lot of drummers. Maybe a lot of livestock. And as such, never cheap. And I always hear some people bitch about, how expensive some of those things are. I was like, can you imagine how all the drummers, just paying all the drummers to drum for a fucking week? It's actually is pretty cheap. If you think of all the people involved, where your average Wiccan ritual lasts maybe a half hour.
Yeah.
What the expenses are: some cake, some wine, some candles.
I've studied both. I've studied witchcraft. I'm actually also an initiate in the Temple of Witchcraft. So, going through both are two completely different systems. And I'm honored to do both. It's a challenge, but the initiation is really only the beginning. So, I always say, when you get initiated, that's when the real journey begins. That's when the real learning begins.
Yeah.
And the real excitement. The initiation is kind of the beginning.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
That's I always tell people that. It's like, listen to the word. It's not an ending. It's initiate. Initiate is to start something. It's the starting of any tradition. It's a starting. It's not an ending. And people always think of it as like, oh yeah, I went through all this shit, and then at the end I get initiated. It's like, no, that's the beginning of the next step. And all forms of folk magic, paganism, whatever you got, they're following the laws of nature, which is a circle. Every ending's a beginning.
Yeah.
All of us seem to have that same philosophy. There's no death. Death is a doorway. It starts something over. It just goes circle, circle, circle. And that's one of those similarities that I see all magics, all spiritualities of that I would call pagan, religions of the land. They all have that in common.
They do. They do. And I think that's the beauty of it, honestly. I mean, when you see it and you see that, it circles around and you see different lessons in a different view, or, something it's, okay, I've learned this, so now here's this aspect of it, depending on what you're doing. So, yeah.
Yeah.
And even now, like, I've been studying witchcraft since I was 13. I think my first book was Ted Andrews, his fairy book, The Fairy Realm. And then,
yeah.
You remember that one? Yeah. And then Scott Cunningham, Living Wicca. Those were my first two books at 13, because that's about all I could get a hold of from a friend. And so it's evolved through the ages, and on the journeys. And would I have thought at 13 that, I was going to go to Haiti? No. And I'm like, it's all in the journey, It's all, it's kind of crazy how the journey kind of leads and the path leads. And I'm like, it's definitely all spirit-led. I will tell you that,
Yeah. Well, I do this thing called Ask Uncle Birch, and I do it in a lot of places. And one of the places I do it is on a total new witch page, about 50,000 new witches on this page. And that comes up all the time. It's like, how will I find my path? And I always say, when you look back on it, you will not see your path ahead of you. In witchcraft, we use the word the twisted path pretty often, and that's really accurate. It bends, it twists, it curves. You will not see where you're going. You will not know where you're going. When you look back, it's like I looked back about, probably about 20 years ago and said, oh shit, I guess my path is to be a witch my whole life and to teach witches. I didn't see that as my path or my career or anything until I looked back and I already been on it. So I just tell them, how am I going to find my path? I say, start walking. You'll find your path later.
You do. You really do. And it's just like they lead. And that's the thing. If you allow yourself to kind of go with it. I was telling TJ one day, I go, those simple lessons that if I could tell anybody at the beginning of their craft is just follow. Trust. You may not fully understand it at the beginning. Always ask questions. That's important. But follow and trust, especially your own intuition, what you feel. I think that's been one of the biggest things, at least on my journey, that I've learned, which is, really trusting myself, even if it means I'm going against people that I love or going against. It's feeling what's right and what's aligned with spirit, because spirit will talk to you differently on each path,
Yeah.
Your other line you say is to shut the fuck up and listen.
Yeah, that's a good one too. I mean, you got to be able to ask questions. I always, if your teachers don't let you ask questions or get offended, then you've got a bad fucking teacher. But also, yeah, shut the fuck up and listen. And not just to your teachers, you got to listen to the universe. Listen to nature, listen to your own internal dialogue. Oh yeah, shut the fuck up and listen. So you guys do any teaching, or if you're doing online classes? A lot of people doing that these days.
I'm wanting to do classes. We've been kind of busy making product lately, but I am wanting to teach again. I used to do a local psychic development here before things really started picking up, and I miss it. I miss interacting with people and teaching people, because especially psychic development. Because I really think that's the basis of any form of magic, is really getting to know. And that's been one of the things that pulled me to, years ago, to the Temple of Witchcraft, with the psychic development. Plus I adore Christopher Penza, so, either way.
Yeah, actually, I think one of his books was required reading in my classes for a while, or actually two of them. Was it Penza? Yeah, it was Penza.
Inner Temple. And I can picture the cover.
And the next one, I think it was the Outer Temple.
I can picture the cover, but I can't. Yeah. I don't remember the title. But yeah, they're both really good beginners books for classes.
Well, it was like Penza was one of the first to use some science in his magic. Right. Well, no, actually, Crowley and them did it, but the contemporary paganism and Wicca, Penza was one of the first. I think it was actually Penza that first talked about using words correctly, like negative energy. That negative energy actually is the energy that comes from negative ions, which is the good energy, and positive energy is the bad energy, and the universe doesn't care if you use words incorrectly. It will give you what you ask for. So you get people out here sending positive energy to people. Well, positive energy is the stuff that comes from electronics and causes depression and disease. And negative energy comes from negative ions and cures depression and disease. And intent or not, if you use it wrong, that's what you're going to get. I think Penza was one of the first people I saw to put his finger on that one. Always gave him credit for that.
Yes. Everything, I mean, yeah. Yeah.
Have you been studying with Christopher Penza for a while? Or were you?
Believe it or not, I've known Christopher. My first class with Christopher was back in 2009. Okay. And I'm actually in the temple. I've been studying for about 2 years now. So I'm... Yeah. Officially. But yeah, I've taken classes from him off and on throughout the years, and I've known him, and so yeah.
Okay. And he's in a different. I don't remember what state he's in, but I know it's not Indiana. He's somewhere else, right?
Yeah. He's in the New England area. Yeah.
Okay. So they've been online. He does a lot of online teaching. Okay.
So. Occurs to me that I should put this out there, to you and to other people out there. Other shops finding creative ways to survive this, and over here in New Orleans, Hex has really ramped up their the Hex Education Network, and they're putting out calls for teachers, and it's all it's remotely done. If you got a good laptop with a camera and a microphone. And something to teach, and if you can submit a class that sounds like they want to take it, they got a lot of people teaching through there now, and it turned out I was the pioneer for that, because Marta wasn't going to let me leave the house, and the whole reason that I tried to teach at Hex is because I wanted to teach people in person again, because I hadn't done it in a few years, because I'm always teaching on the internet. And then of course the Black Plague came, and Marta wasn't going to let me leave the house, so I talked Christian into figuring out a remote option to do it from home. And then the day after we figured out how to do that, they closed Hex, and so now it used to be if you're coming to New Orleans, you could come, maybe you could teach a class. Now it's like they're putting out the call for teachers all over, and there's a bunch of people teaching hexwitch.com. So if you want to jump back in there, you got something to teach, you can hit him up. Probably do that. Just putting it out there.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
But yes, no, that would be fun. I've been talking to TJ about teaching more, so.
Or, you set up your own kind of thing.
Yeah.
That crowdcast thing looks pretty cool. There's that Zoom. Zoom seems an interesting way. I know Moise is doing a lot of teaching through Zoom. Says he does really well on it. So there's a lot of ways to do this now, and now with the social distancing, those are the only ways to do it. Good time to jump in.
Time being, for sure.
And people are all looking for something to watch, So
Yeah.
I've been getting a lot more sales on classes. Just people. I've got some of my classes. I took some of my old year-in-a-day classes and just dumped them in bulk onto the site where I'm selling them. So you could just you can take half a year, or you can buy the whole fucking year. Because the millennial witches like to binge watch stuff. And I kept running into people out there that were binge watching me. So I've had a lot of sales on those. So it's like somebody, they take a year-in-a-day course in a week. They just sitting there on their fucking couch. It seems weird, but we're in interesting times,
Yeah.
Yes. I think online classes are a great way to connect when we can't connect. And I think it's a great way to, excuse me, to expand as much as we can and still keep that connection and keep learning going. So, yeah, we'll have to talk about that.
Yeah.
I love that you're actually teaching and you're getting stuff out there as well.
Yeah, you got a website, man. You work that shit. Do everything you can right now because there's just nothing else to do.
I don't know. We do have three kids, and I'm done telling you that remote school. I'm going to tell you when it takes up 5 hours. It takes about a good 5 hours. And the teachers try to be flexible with you, which I'm like, thank God. I love these teachers, but I'm like, yeah.
It's a big, responsibility all of a sudden, because we have to work and do what we were doing before, but now we also have to be teachers and we have to be there, full time for our kids and keep them entertained and, all of that, which, we didn't have to do when they were in school all day. And it's a big, new responsibility that we have to deal with all of a sudden.
There's nothing like having to teach your kindergartner how to journal and to write a journal entry every frickin' day.
Yeah, 2 kids too. That's got to be more complicated.
Wait, did you say 2 kids or 3?
I got a
We
first
have
grader and a
two
kindergarten.
2?
Yeah.
Okay.
Two for the school. Mhm.
Well, this is the time, man. This is dad and mom time. You record a class. I did in my class. I did a whole portion of my current class was how to do professional witchery, and one of the things I taught my kids hey, I work smarter, not harder. This hour right now of the class that you're watching, I'm going to sell this hour countless times. So you go and work at McDonald's, you're going to get paid minimum wage one time for that hour. But if you can make your hour keep paying you, shit, that's a beautiful thing about the internet.
Yes. Got to enjoy the residual income of that,
And I have totally had my kid pop up in the background when I'm doing a class. He's ended up on a couple classes. He just comes bipping in there, making faces in the background and shit. But I rolled with it. He's a ham. He's a Corel,
Yes.
It's in the blood.
Well, not the way I see it. It's part of the deal. It's part of the package.
Yeah.
Try to be as professional as possible, but when you have kids, anything goes.
Absolutely. Well, I think we're getting to the point where we gotta part ways and play our exit songs and plug our shit. what's your website and whatever what were your last words?
Our website is the number 3 and then Crows, CROWS, Conjure.com. And you can go there. We also have Instagram. We have a YouTube channel as well. And we're on Facebook too. And we're doing really well. We've been blessed by the spirits, and we're staying busy right now. And if there's things that you guys need, definitely let us know. We do custom work as well. So that's a lot of stuff that's fun. We're enjoying it, and we love serving. So that's our big thing.
Well, it was great having you on. Three Crows Conjure. I personally loved all of their stuff that I saw. The one time I got to see their stuff, and hopefully in August we'll be able to see more. Well, God us willing, and the church don't rise at some point, maybe next year. I don't know. We'll see how it works.
I'll stay healthy, so whenever it's doable, we'd love to see you guys again.
Yes, we'd love to see you as well. All right, guys.
All right. Okay. Blessed be you guys.
Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thanks for coming. Okay.
Thank you.
We'll talk to you later. Bye. All right. Wow, they were fun folk. They always are. Let's see. So I plugged everybody else. I should mention, since I talked about that, hexwitch.com. Over at the Hex Education Network, they are looking for educators if you want to try your hand at this kind of thing. Now, they ain't going to accept you if you're not good, but if you are good, you just hit them up. My next class is going to be, you can find it. You can find my last class, the Protection Magic, at hexwitch.com. I'm still selling that. I did it live. We had a bunch of people in there taking the class, but then it's also their classes are archived, so you can buy them later. But you can sign up now for my next class. It's going to be May 2nd, Sex Magic and Beyond. And like I've said, if you weren't on my live show, the Beyond is going to be impressive. I come from a path where I was polyamorous for 20 years. And a rare breed, heterosexual pagan male who ain't bad looking. So I've had a lot of time to experiment and hone my techniques, as it were. So I've got a lot of information. I was just preparing for Muerte. But in that preparing, I've accrued a large amount of data, as it were. So check that one out. It's be May 2nd, the day after Beltane, at hexwitch.com. You can get over there now. You can sign up for it now. There's a bunch of good classes over there that you can sign up for now. And then at my next year-in-a-day course, I've got 4 year-in-a-day courses going at the same time right now. One of them's ending at the end of the month. So it's May 1st, that class ends, and then the next class is going to begin June 1st. So if you want to take a full year-in-a-day course with Uncle Birch, get over to gumroad.com. That's gum like gum on your shoe, and a road like the road you drive down. .com/witch school, which is of course WITCHSKEWL. And you got to wait for June 1st. That class will not appear until June 1st. But you get over there, make yourself an account. There's a bunch of other classes you can take over there. You got my spiritual warfare series, witchcraft without Wicca. If you're in a hurry, you can take one of my older year-in-a-day courses and just download the whole fucking thing and watch it over the next week, and you'll have done an entire year-in-a-day's worth of study in witchcraft. Gumroad.com/witch school, WITCHSKEWL. Thank you all for joining us. Good to see you all in the chat room. Most of our regulars missed seeing you. We will try and keep it up and, be here. We had to take a couple weeks off because they're just, the world was just too depressing. There was nothing really to say. But I think we're past that now. Who knows? But God us willing and the church don't rise. We'll be here next week. So, blessed be you all. Be safe, stay home, and don't get none on you.